Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I'm Reverend Jerry Troyer, the administrator for the affiliated New Thought Network, and I'd like to welcome you to our August speaker series conversation with Reverend Ali Benjamin and Dr. Angelo Pizelo. Just a gentle reminder, if you have not yet registered for our conference, October 1st through the 4th at Unity Village in near Kansas City, Missouri. Today is a perfect day to do that because the deadline is Sunday, September 1st at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific time. Please do go on our website, www.newthought.org. There's a listing of the presenters, amazing speakers, Dennis Merritt Jones, Mitch Horowitz, John Harold Moore, and Michael Gott. Martha Creek, and many others. Just going to be an amazing time. According to my attendees list, looks like most of you are going to be there. If you've not registered and can come, we would love it if you would join us, but please do so before Sunday night, September 1st. So with that in mind, if you would join me in the light for just a moment, I will center us and get us rolling here. So just relax where you are for a moment. Take a deep breath if you're comfortable. Close your eyes if you'd like. And in the peace and the quiet of this moment, we just allow ourselves to be reminded that there's only one power, presence, mind, life, and intelligence, and that is God. Spirit, the universe, the infinite, the divine, whatever we choose to call it. And we come together in gratitude for a few moments to have the opportunity to be reminded of the truth of who we are, to learn new things about new thought and religious science and science of mind, to be educated and inspired about what's happening with Emerson and ANTN. So we give great thanks for the opportunity to be together. I wrap our time in gratitude, love, and light, and together we say, and so it is. So it is my great pleasure to introduce our speaker series coordinator, member of the board, corporate secretary, dear friend, who I actually went drinking with a few days ago in Loretto, Kentucky, and we can talk more about that offline if you would like to. Our beloved friend, the Reverend Dr. Carol Lawson.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. Thank you so much, Jerry, for that lovely introduction. And I'm thrilled today that you're here. We're going to be talking with a couple of my very favorite people, Reverend Allison Benjamin, which you can wave, Allie, and I'll tell them a little bit about you, although I suspect people on this call know, but maybe those listening later. She's the president of the affiliated New Thought Network. She's been involved with ANTN for 22 years. Born in England. I love that. Actually, and your parents were both Olympic athletes, so maybe that's why you can keep going all the time so much, I think. But she's also the founder and director of the Satya Center for Spiritual Living in Ogden, Utah. She serves the Bear Valley Center for Spiritual Enrichment in California, and she's also a co-spiritual leader there and is on the board of the Big Sky Retreat. You know, if you've seen her at all or come to conference, that she's a creative painter and artist among some of her many talents. And she's using currently that creativity as she and her husband, Michael, who you may notice right there, begin this new adventure in their Om Shanti home, they're calling it, which masquerades as a camper van, taking God on a joyride tour, traveling all over, sharing her message of overcoming life's challenges, living unconditional joy, activating authentic power. She's living a life that is filled with new thought, wisdom, and creativity and joy, and I'm delighted that you're here with us, Allie. And we are also welcoming today the Reverend Dr. Angelo Pizelo, who I think all of you know, founder and president of Emerson Theological Institute, founder, senior minister, I guess minister emeritus now, Positive Living Center of Oakhurst. Mm-hmm. Been a minister for 48 years, the Emerson representative on the ANTN board, I love that he's an ex-Marine, public school teacher, which I did that for a while, and I think you need both those qualities. And school principal, and then superintendent of schools with a doctorate in school administration. Beloved teacher, administrator of generations of New Thought students, and now the Walden Award winner in the category of New Thought Wisdom. So, looking at some of the other bios that from him, I just think it's important to mention he's also the founder and senior minister and director of the Emerson New Thought Church Without Walls, which is an organization that provides grief counseling, hospital ministry, prison ministry, hospice services, other humanitarian services for Emerson graduates, co-founder of the Animal Chaplaincy Program. And listen to all this, the Distinguished Alumni Award from Gonzaga University. He's received the Man of the Year Award from Oakhurst Chamber of Commerce. I know Angelo hates this. I received, but it's true that this is recognition that is well-deserved. He Business Person of the Year from the Rotary Club. He's co-founder of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Oakhurst. Just an amazing, glorious man. So welcome, Angie. And it's such a beautifully and well-deserved honor that you're a winner of the Walden Award in the New Thought Wisdom category, because you hold a lot of New Thought wisdom. Yes, Janine is clapping. She's muted, but hear a loud clap for congratulations.
Am I on now?
Yeah, you're on now. Talk about all that New Thought wisdom. You can.
Well, it's been a glorious journey for this old guy. I'll tell you, it's been wonderful. Coming from the Church of Everlasting Guilt, spending around 15 years being trained by the Jesuits, and then my Marine Corps experience has been really wonderful. Brought me to New Thought teachings. It's kind of interesting. Took over a school district as a superintendent called Happy Valley. It was a misnomer at the time. Happy Valley in California. And my business manager his name was Joe Vondercheck, if you can believe this. I can still remember him. He's passed. And he was a New Thoughter. He was going to the Science of Mind Church. Right now it's an CSL church in Redding, California. And so Joe said, I like the way you're running this school district. You have an open door policy, and you experience love, and you're visiting classrooms, all that stuff. That's exactly what my church believes in, that love, energy, and compassion. He says, you ought to come to church. I said, no way, Joe. There's no way I'm going to do that. I'm no longer going to churches, and I'm not into religion at all. And he said, no, you need to do it. But he kept bugging me. So finally I said, okay, Joe, I'll go one time with you. Just stop bugging me. And he said, you got a deal. So I walk into this church, and it was in one of the hotels at that time. That church is still in existence, by the way. I'll tell you a story about that later on. But anyway, I sat there, and the guy was talking about the love, energy, and forgiveness, living in the now, and all the good stuff. And I thought, oh my God! And I bought into it. And that was in 1970. Crazy, and it turned my life around. But it was pretty much in unison with my feelings anyway, my love, energy. So anyway, to make a long story even longer, the next many years as a school superintendent was glorified because of my New Thought philosophy. Every time a situation come up where people were angry at the teacher or something, and they'd come and want to meet with me, I would stop before going into the room, the conference room, and I'd spread love, energy throughout the room, thanking the room for allowing, because those are molecules and forever alive too, if you believe some of that. But anyway, and just expressing my love energy, that everyone radiated this healing energy of love and compassion. And I had no problems. Everything just fell into place, and I was sold. And from then on, I went in for practitioner work, and ultimately I became the minister. Anyway, that's my story. And why did we start Emerson? Well, I spent over 30 years and Stella had 36 years in the school system. And so one day she said, you know, you're getting close to retiring. This was in early 1990. And she said, why don't we start a school that teaches this new thought philosophy, the science of mind? I said, that sounds good. I said, what's the unintended consequences? But anyway,
you don't get to retire. That's what happened, Angie.
So anyway, what happened on that was we didn't have a community college at the time, and which really irritated me because I was running a high school district, and we had to have classes there for adults, but no community college. And I talked to Source Energy. I said, we're going to take care of that really soon. And I can tell you about what happened on that one. But anyway, so we decided to, let's start at first we called it the Positive Living Center, Spiritual Center. And on my way back from Fresno one day, because at that time I was a staff minister for an RSI church in Fresno. So on the way back after teaching a class that evening, it came to me, I love Ralph Waldo Emerson. He's my hero. Why am I calling this the Positive Living Institute, for goodness sakes? And so that at that moment in time, I changed it to, I want it to be Emerson Theological Institute. We had a committee, RSI, when RSI was upon our committee, and I was an RSI minister at the time as well. And we had a UCRS minister there. So we put a group together to just dialogue it. And we had about 8 people in the group. But you know, every time we had a meeting, there'd be a change in philosophy, change this. So finally I fired everybody. And I said, you know, Stella and I are going to create this thing. You know, we're going to finalize this. So what we did, we did all the necessary paperwork, the 501c3, et cetera, to create the Emerson Theological Institute. I think it was the most glorious thing we've ever done. Now, why did we do that? It was because of my experience how a belief system can change a guy's life, provide, you know, once you connect to this divine energy, I call it's an energy charge, a field of energy that's connected to everything there is. My gosh, when you make that part of your DNA, you realize every thought affects everything. And so why not get that belief system out there and enhance people? At first, we were going to do it. We were only going to do it here for Oakhurst to take the place of this community college stuff. But then Tom Sander was a minister, my senior minister there at Fresno. He's since became a CSL person. But anyway, he said, Angie, there's something going on at Lake Arrowhead. And they're starting a new group. And this was in 1992. And he said, you want to go and check it out? I said, absolutely. So we go over to Lake Arrowhead, and I'll be darned, there were like 18 centers there. And when you were an RSI, I always got to speak, but I was in the little chapel there at the Similiar at 7 in the morning. All the big guys got to do the main drag. But anyway, at the Similiar, they wanted to hear from me about 6 times during that 3 days or 4 days. I thought, my gosh. And so I got up there and I started talking about this new college, this new I don't call it a university, this new institute that we were forming on New Thought Philosophy. So they said, hey, listen, we'd like to know more about this. Would you come to our board meeting this afternoon? And this was like their second meeting. They had just started organizing. So they asked me to come to the second meeting, to the board meeting. I went and I told them, they said, we want to be part of this. I said, this is just for Oakhurst. It's not, why can't we be part of it? I said, let me talk to our attorney. Ray Dunn was our attorney at the time. I said, I'll talk to him. So I asked Ray when I got back, I said, Ray, what's going on here? They want to join it. He says, why not? He says, just have them be affiliates. I mean, why not do it? And so that's how Emerson got started. Emerson got started. It was in 1992, and I believe it was the second meeting. I think Janine was there as well. It was the second meeting of the affiliated New Thought Religious Science Churches. That was the name at the time. I ended up getting on the board, which is kind of interesting. But that's another story. We don't need to get into that today.
Well, just to say, you're still on the board. No one has ever let you get off. You're now a permanent Emerson representative on the affiliated New Thought Network board. So
there was some dialogue on that. They said, "Do we want you on the board?" And we elect members. I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be having to go to elections and all. I'm out of that politics stuff. And they said, well, and so they had a little conference, and they said, well, we want you to come on as a permanent member because you represent Emerson Theological Institute. So you can have a permanent seat without having to go through an election. And there was some dialogue on that. A couple of the folks objected to it. But anyway, it went on okay. So now they've got to kill me before I can get off the board. I have to die of a stroke or something anyway. But Stella's the alternate, and then we could have Bob Hanna, our vice president. We got Lori Ballard. We got all kinds of folks who'd love to do that. So we're taken care of. Anyway, what was the purpose of Emerson? The purpose of Emerson, having been through the other organization, is I didn't want an organization that was mind-oriented only. We talked about this, Stella and I, and then we had a couple other folks join us who were ministers as well. We didn't want to run a bureaucracy. We wanted to follow what Ernest Holmes said, be open at the top. We wanted to treasure, once we accept folks as an alternate affiliate, we wanted to trust them and have faith in them because we would, vet them to some degree. We wanted them to be creative. We didn't want to tell them how to do things. All we want to do, and Stella and I are pros when it comes to curriculum development. We spent over 30 years, Stella 36 years in the school system. We wanted to provide the guidance and the directions and the structure for these classes. I use as a model the UCRS and also RSI ideas on creating practitioners and ministers to get us started. We've since evolved from that a little bit. And so the idea was that we wanted every center to be independent, have their own board, have their own bylaws, and we would provide the guidance. We would provide mentorship if necessary, because we're so darn used to boards, over the years. And we would provide some mentorship as needed. We spend mentorship on creating classes, but we will provide a curriculum, but they're not restricted just to the curriculum. We wanted them to be creative, and if they felt they could do it better in a different way and add to our structure, they were free to do that, which is kind of cool. And
which is, I think, what's happened. Let me just insert this for a moment, Angie. Since everybody else is muted, if you do have a question for Angie, if you'll put your question on the chat, we will get to them all. So just a button down at the bottom.
I would love to have that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, the long and the short of it is we ended up with the 18 centers immediately. That was at the first, ANTN, Affiliated New Thought Religious Science Network conference. And then it started growing, and we got to where we are today. It's just been growing substantially and exponentially too. So anyway, that's the history. On the way back from that conference, I told my friend Tom, I says, Tom, I'm out of here. I'm going to go independent. I made that decision that I wanted the Emerson Theological Institute to be independent. And so at that point, it was fine. And Tom's a very dear friend. And so he released me and let me go. And so that's where we started. Now, the purpose, why did we do this? If you want to know, and that gets into that New Thought Walden idea. I feel that New Thought, religious science, is going to be, I don't want to be too obnoxious, I think it's the enhancement and the savior of the planet. I really believe that more and more as I see what's going on. And I believe that it's important for us to enhance the lives of not only organizations and not only in all areas, but to enhance the life ourselves. We have to actually take care of ourselves first. So the idea was to get the word out that we need to be the message in all that we do. We can talk a good game and be the messenger, and every one of us on the platform, we can say a good word. But until we practice it and live that belief system and show people how wonderfully it works, it ain't going to happen. So we need to be the message, and that's one of our purposes at Emerson. The other thing is we want to establish creativity, which means we want them to go have that, I call it the 1 yard or the 1 foot journey from the mind to the heart. We want to not put obstacles in the way of our students to where they have to regurgitate something they've already done. We have to have all these many classes that don't relate to how to be out of the chute, how to be the best practitioner I could be, how to be the best minister I could possibly on day one. So we wanted to focus our curriculum on that. And so that's what we did. We also wanted everyone to know that that when we connect to this life force that we call God, or whatever you want to call it, I call it source energy, I call it the force, that what happens is that each one of us has within our lives, we are actually eternal spiritual beings on vacation on planet Earth. And that's exactly right. It's very short term, so we're on vacation. So what's our purpose here? Our purpose is to experience the whole enchilada of the human drama. Our purpose is to be an eternal life form, to experience the limitation of physicalness. It's kind of interesting when it sinks in. My gosh, what that means is we're here to experience all of it. We're here not to draw conclusions that this is bad, this is awful, poor me, or going to fear and doubt. No, we need to know that there's something within us that's superior to everything that challenges us, and we're here to learn from those challenges. So get with it, guy. Don't go into fear and doubt. We want to get that message across as much as we can in our curriculum.
I think you do that, Angie.
It excites me to know. When I was with the Marines, I was in the Air Department of the Marines, and I was a private pilot before. The reason I joined the Marines was because I wanted to learn how to fly a jet. Isn't that crazy? But the bottom line is, I had with me in the Marine Corps, God is my co-pilot. And I was a Catholic at the time, former Catholic, but God is my co-pilot. That I had this energy, and it was a book that came out in like 54. It was a book, but I had the book. But the consciousness of that book stayed with me, that God, that I'm not alone. Our situation in ministry, though, is we got to get away from duality. I hear too much that let's pray to God. Who are we praying to? We need to pray from the idea that we are that life force, that we are the dynamics of infinite possibilities and unlimited potential. That's who we are. And when we accept that fact, then our human experience takes on a new dynamics. All of a sudden, I can, what I do, and every one of you, I'm talking to the choir, I know that. I start the day connecting. I want to set the tone. I'm grateful for this day and all the love and abundance that comes my way. I'm grateful for this. And when I go to bed at night, I need to clear that out of any darkness that came in during the day. So when I go to bed at night, I make sure that subconscious mind, because every night we return home to spirit. Yeah, we go into deep sleep and we're not in the human drama at the time. Now our body's still here, but that subconscious mind keeps our heart going, etc. You've got all this. But anyway, so I don't want when I go to sleep at night and I go home, I don't want the subconscious mind to relive any negative stuff that's going on and give me any ideas on drama or whatever. That's what happens to us. We get signals and, hey, you did this wrong, but it's all signal stuff. If you believe all this, I do. But anyway, so what I do as I sleep tonight, I release any dark energy, any darkness, any negative that is in my experience. I release it now as I return home to spirit. And I transmute everything to a love energy. I do that every night. I've done it for the last almost 50 years now. And it works like a charm. So we want to get these ideas across to people in our curriculum, how we can. And so when we pray from that idea, not to something. And I see too much duality when I visit churches or I hear ministers talking, and it's part of our nature. For example, I do a lot of funerals because I'm on the Marine Corps Honor Guard, and we do all of the funerals. We've done over 60 in the last 3 years, and I stopped counting. But anyway, I hear too much that I've lost John, my friend. We don't lose our loved ones. They take on a new uniform, they change the dynamics, but they're always with us because we're one with them. And so I think the dynamics of it is the transformation that we're trying to get across when we created Emerson, the transformation of human awareness to where we transcend the idea that we're primarily physical and that we're under the domain of what's happening to us in the physical. And what's kind of silly about that, if I build a table and then all of a sudden I'm fearful that the table might attach me. That's what we get into when we start fearing the dynamics or the concepts of the human drama. You know, why fear something when we're the creator of that something? That's ridiculous. But anyway, it's the idea of the transformation of awareness. That's part of the Emerson curriculum too. How do I transform that? How do I realize that everything that happens to me benefits me in some way? Wow. And so, of course, I get attacked occasionally when I mention that. Everything that happens to me, we may not know at the time. You know, my dog, Zeppy, my Dalmatian, passed. After 12 years, they died. And how can that be benefiting Angelo in any way? And I had to do some checking in when I got into grief on my loved one dog. And what came to me was, my gosh, that dog taught me love energy. It used to lick my ear when I was sitting there and talk to me in its own way. It showed me how forgiveness worked. It showed me so much. So as with a human being, I blessed the experience that I've had in such a short period of time. And I really let you go because I believe that the dog has a spiritual being as well. That's why we created the animal chaplaincy program. We created that because we needed to show people when they lose their pets, we take them through the grief process and we realize that that's a spiritual being as well. And that spiritual being is
one of the graduates from the animal chaplaincy program here at our center. It's quite beautiful, Angie. It's wonderful. A job well done.
Well, I didn't do it.
You've held the space in creating the Emerson Institute and all of this to unfold. As we listen to you, we're getting new thought wisdom. No wonder Greg Braden was another one of the Walden Award winners in your category. You know, it's a beautiful space, and you are sharing it all. You know, you're with your every breath, with your every sentence here. We're getting all this beautiful.
Our problem in ministry is we make it too darn complex. My gosh, it's simple. Don't make it complex. Make it simple. This universal energy works with effortless ease. We don't have to try for anything. All we have to do is get it within our mind that we are spiritual beings. We're here to experience everything. I don't call it good or bad or anything. We can't throw rocks at someone because we dislike how they're running things, for example. And I'm not going to get into politics. I don't do that. But we can't say it's all good and it's all God except for. We have to get into our frame of mind that there's a universal energy that's intelligent, that knows what it's doing. And that everyone is a life form. They're all on their own spiritual journey and spiritual path. So it's not our job necessarily to be just judgmental and say, if you don't believe what I believe, then you're out of here. No, we want those people in our centers, in our churches, listening to this new thought belief system because it's pretty darn special and it can change a life. So it works with effortless ease. I use as a metaphor the teeter-totter as a good example of this. It's a balance. We need to, when we come into this human drama, realize that we don't have to go it alone because we're limited. We can only run so fast. We can only think so much. We can only do this and that. We need to realize, hey, we're a dimension of infinite possibilities and unlimited potential. We need to balance that out. We need to bring that into the forefront. When I'm confronted by something, I need to call forth that divine energy that's superior to what's going on and allow it to work in my life. It's just opening up our hearts and allowing it to spread. I can tell you, I know this works because I've had enough years on this planet to tell you, and I don't want to spend the next 4 hours telling you about the dynamics that experienced in my experience, but I can tell you, anytime I get challenged, I become an Italian Marine. I say, hey, wait a minute. They say, oh, I don't believe that. I said, well, I do, because I've experienced it. You can't mention anything that I haven't experienced. And I've used this belief system, and I'm very adamant about it. I don't think you have to believe it. you're not going to believe it until it affects you as well. But it's worth opening your heart to it and trying it, So anyway, the idea is effortless. So the teeter-totter. If I'm just going it alone and not realizing that God is my co-pilot, this divine energy is with me, because I am that what it is. I am the I am. Then you're sitting on your rear end on the teeter-totter, looking up at the other side, and there's nothing there. Once we bring spirit, now this is a metaphor you can use, Janine, or any of you, if you want. I give you a release of it. When you bring spirit into the picture and realize who you really are, it's a balance, and you're getting off your rear end, and you're balancing. Does that make any sense?
It makes a great deal of sense. And the whole idea of accepting all of it, that in the act of judging something right or wrong or different, we're out of that flow of limitless source. So it's beautiful, Angie. And no wonder you won the Walden Award, which says, honoring an extraordinary group of people who use spiritual truth to empower others, transforming the planet and everyone on it. And it sounds exactly like that's your intention and what you're doing.
I want to close with, I know I'm getting close to being done, I think, but.
We've still got a little while, but we've got a couple of questions.
Oh, I thought you were signing me off. Okay, that's okay.
Oh, I'm just trying to say hello.
That's good. I like it. Anyway, once we identify who and what we are, we simplify it to saying, hey, all I have to do is accept. I have no need. So stop needing things when you do a prayer treatment. You don't need a thing. It's already there. So what I like to do is I'm open and receptive to the flow of whatever it is I want. And so the idea on that is to realize that once we accept who we are, there's an impulse within us. It's hard to explain this. There's an impulse in us that desires us to experience and to show as the sunshine our magnificence. It just automatically happens. There's an impulse that desires us to be who we really are, our authentic self, the God force, the life form of this God force that's so awesome. And what that means is you do it through meditation, but you can also do it through the mental idea that, I'm here on planet Earth kind of as a visitor, and I'm here to enjoy it because I'm on vacation. I'm not here to suffer from it, just to experience and to grow my soul. I do use the word growing the soul. Initially, I didn't want to do that because the soul is eternal as well. And in mysticism and also with New Thought, the soul is the subconscious mind. That's what the soul is. If somebody asks me, what is the soul? We believe that the soul is this universal subconscious mind. Although Emerson calls it the oversoul. But anyway, the idea is that once we accept that and we allow it to blossom in our lives, it changes everything. The magnificence starts showing. So what we're doing is calling forth that which we want to experience in our life. And so the idea is you're not pleading, you're not actually, even the word prayer kind of, it's a calling forth of what already exists in our life. Yeah. And so that's what I mean by that. Being the message is a big, I like to repeat because this is the most crucial thing. In our community here, we say, oh, Angelo, you're so great, you're involved with everything. No, I'm trying to be the message. In our community, when I started the Emerson and wanted to create our center, it was in 1987. It was in April. I came for the interview. I didn't even apply for the job, by the way. That was how the universe works in our life once we're connected to it. I applied for the Columbia. I wanted to go to Sonora, which is 125 miles from here, because it was at the 4,500 elevation. I love the woods. So I wanted to experience that. So I put in for the job there. I get a call from Sally Frazier, the local county superintendent, says, hey, we're ready to interview you. I says, I'm not going to, where are you? In Madera County. I said, no, I want to go to Sonora. She said, no, my friend is the county superintendent there. He looked at your resume. We want you here. We have a place for you here in Oakhurst. We need you. Because they have just recalled a school board, et cetera. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I said, well, okay, I'll come in for the interview, but that's not what I really wanted. The day I drove in here, there's a Ku Klux Klan parade on Highway 41. I'm looking through the window now. It's right outside here where our offices are. A Ku Klux Klan parade. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done to myself? So I go to the local hotel to get my room, and I'm praying. I said, I'm wrong. I don't want to be here. This is not my place. And so I by then, you know, I was pretty much into this belief system. I said, so I was doing my prayer work and doing treatment, and what came out loud and clear is, Angelo, you're starting a church here. You're needed here. Isn't that incredible? It came through prayer and through meditation. So I said, really? So I interviewed and got the job and took over district. So I created the Positive Living Center of Central California.
Yeah, and it's been beautiful work, Angie. Not only that, but then Emerson and we have a couple of comments I just want to bring to your attention. Sydney Lehrman says, Angie, your words are so beautiful and inspiring. We are here to align with spirit, not attain that spirit. And which is your point, I think. And Deb Brown has a couple of questions that we should answer too. And she says, many thanks to Reverend Pizelo for all his assistance in helping me achieve my goal, getting my master's degree, and beginning my PhD. But she's asking, as a soon-to-be Emerson grad, how can I be of service to Emerson? And how do I enlist the services of a mentor? And I think that's a good time to bring in Allie Benjamin as well, the president of ANTN. We can talk about the connection evolved between Emerson and ANTN, because how can I be of service to Emerson is one question, and how do I get the service of a mentor also includes ANTN. Beautiful.
Well, Deborah, I want to say that lady who I'm referring to, soon to be Dr. Brown, is going to be one of our speakers. And I don't know if you still have her muted, but I want her to know that I honor her, and we'll be recognizing her with her degree, but also she gets to speak. She'll be representing some of the graduates.
Well, thank you. And I just finished my speech yesterday, so.
I'm looking forward to this. How can you be a mentor? How can you've been mentored, whether you know that or not?
Well, I so appreciate your mentorship.
And Emerson Institute, I tell my staff here, if I'm in the office and the phone rings, I get the call. I want a personal relationship with our students as much as I can. I get overwhelmed sometimes, and so I can't do it all. But when Lori's here, or Joan, or Bob Hand even, I get the call. And we offer our help. Through ANTN, we've got a mentorship group as well. You can be of service to Emerson by being who you are. It starts within ourselves. There's a ripple effect. When you change your consciousness, you are an energy charge and a field of energy that's connected to all there is. So what you do for yourself and for others, when you become the message, you're doing it for Emerson, because that was our goal. You are actually being our mission and our vision. So you, my friend, are doing that already. As far as mentorship, I get several calls during the day, during the week, and I'm there for you 24/7. If I'm not here, Laurie will be here. And we've got others now. Our friend Joan passed. She was with us for 20 years, and she passed. But she's still with me in spirit, and she's still telling me what to do. It's kind of cool.
And then all of this philosophy, as it's unfolded, has resulted in this beautiful organization, the Affiliated New Thought Network, of independent churches who then do move into consciousness and create our curriculum through that. And let's talk a little bit just about the connection between Emerson and ANTN, because Jerry has said he gets some questions every week about that difference. So Allie, maybe you just mention about ANTN a little.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Angelo, Angie, my beloved friend.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Emerson Theological Institute and the Affiliated New Thought Network work very, very closely together. And as you've heard, Dr. Angelo has a permanent lifetime seat on the board of directors. And so it's been such a pleasure and a privilege to work alongside Angie and Carol and many other board members throughout the 3 years or so that I have been on the board. As far as mentorship, we really extend an invitation to all of the Emerson graduates to become a member of the affiliated New Thought Network. And if you would like to have more information about becoming a member of ANTN, you can call Jerry, who's on the screen. Wave for them, Jerry. Jerry is our administrator, and he'd be happy to help walk you through the process of filling out an application and becoming a member of ANTN. Within ANTN, once you're a member, you can become a part of our mentor team. And we are in the process currently of formalizing it even more to make it available to a broader audience. We have some amazing mentors within ANTN, ministers that have been pulpit ministers or doing independent ministry for many, many decades. And many people volunteer their time to support startup churches or churches that are without ministers. And so I could ramble on just like Angie likes to talk, I do too, but I won't. So if you have any questions about the mentor program, please, again, talk to Jerry or call me. I'll put my number in the chat, and you can call me or email me about the becoming a member or our mentor program.
I think it's important, thank you, Allie. I think it's important to notice that you're not automatically a member of ANTN by just graduating through Emerson, that you need to apply as an independent minister or as a practitioner or as a church or a center itself to be a member of ANTN. And that in terms of the connection with it, we see Emerson as like our educational arm. So every single class that anybody has taken at an ANTN church is can be used as credit toward any degrees that you might be working through for Emerson. So there's a deeply heartfelt and very close connection, but it's not an automatic thing. You do need to apply for membership in the affiliated New Thought Network. And that's, I think, the point, Jerry, that you would like us to be sure that people understand, right?
Right.
And people don't understand the relationship of ANTN with Emerson, so we need to talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, and if you're interested in membership, please do go to our website, www.newthought.org. There's more information on the levels of membership, the qualifications, the membership applications. All that information is there on the website for you.
I'd like to say something. I just see a little message from Mary Beth. Oops, I've messed something up here. Anyway, she's talking about the difference between credentialing and licensing. And so, Angie, would you talk a little bit about?
I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Emerson does not license. Licenses come from centers. We have that a lot. We do not license. We're a school. It's like going to the university and becoming a teacher. You get a credential. And all the credential is, it tells you that you've completed all the requirements to be able to take on the title of practitioner or minister. We do not license. A license is an agreement between a center and a practitioner or minister. And I always recommend to our centers that they do not license, because that makes you the deep pocket. Once you license person, you become responsible for anything that goes on. That's my feeling. I'm not an attorney, but I've had attorneys explain this to me. It's like the Catholic Church. They're responsible for each priest that's out there. So I always tell our centers that it's best not to do it. If you do it, you have to establish what the rules are, how many times the minister or the practitioner needs to be at the center, what the function is, what the liability is, all those kinds of things. I would suggest that you talk to an attorney to get a non-disclosure type thing, a disclosure thing. So licensing is, people come to me and say, I want to be licensed. No, we don't license. That's between you and your church. The difference between CSL and Holmes Institute is the teaching arm of the CSL. We get a lot of people from CSL wanting to become part of an Emerson program. The affiliated New Thought, now CSL, they're all dependent on the headquarters in Colorado. ANTN is an independent. Each center is independent with their own rules, their regulations, their own boards, etc. Emerson accepts that because Emerson is, all the affiliates are the same. They're independent. Some of them, not all of them are necessarily in ANTN. We're convincing people to join ANTN as well, though, which we are doing now. And so that's the differences. Another thing that came up was ordination. People are unaware of ordination. Every one of those independent churches have the right to determine when they're going to ordain a minister. Some of them say 1 year, some say 2, some say 3. It's up to each one. We don't dictate to our independent affiliates when to ordain. However, Emerson New Thought Center is a 501c3 church. It will ordain. It does not license. It recognizes credentials, though. It's a recognition. But the Emerson New Thought Center, and Stella Pizelo is the senior minister of that organization. It does ordain. So when we have an ordination, and this year it's going to be in October 3rd on Thursday over at the Lee Summit
Conference.
Stella will be the senior minister. I usually have other people participate. I'm going to ask John Karn to be part of the ordination ceremony this year as well. So ordinations come, but for CSL, for ENTC, we would like a person to be a minister at least one successful year as a minister before they ordain. And
we have a couple of other questions, Nancy, just to get it in for these last like 10 minutes.
Okay, sure.
A quick thing. Also from Mary Beth, have we discussed, or can we, how ANTN ministers can access various course materials from Emerson?
It's as simple as an email or a phone call. Yeah, just recently we sent all the course materials for all the whole practitioner credentialing to a center, and we've done that considerably. And so we will do that. So all they have to do is email us and ask a request for that information. We do not dictate how to teach it. We want them to use their own creativity, and we'll show them how to present a lesson, which is no problem for us. There's certain steps we do. We'll show them that. But we want them to actually read the book, the textbook, and then create the lesson themselves. We will send them, however, as much as we have, we've got quite a few of those now, we will send them the discussion questions that they can use in developing their lessons on every textbook that we have available that we've done for the whole practitioner credentialing and also the ministerial credentialing. We are able to send those, it's quite a lot of information to anyone who requests them. We just did that to the Bridges, we did it to Bridges, and also we did it to the Guidance Center.
It's wonderful. It's one of the things that drew me to ANTN was this accepting, open-hearted, offering, sharing. It's a very beautiful thing. Just call your attention to some of the things on the chat. Allie Benjamin has put her email and phone number. If you want questions about ANTN, you can ask there. And Jerry has put up ANTN's website, certainly for registering for the conference or finding out other information about joining ANTN. It's there. And Janine says, "Beloved Dr. Angelo, you rock." I have to get that in because...
I need to correct one thing that I said that I said it out of emotion. When I said we first started, we had this committee and I fired them. I didn't fire them. What I did, I readjusted the dialogue to where we weren't regurgitating stuff over and over again to get things done. So
so there could be something new. So down the road, 30 or 40 years later, you could get a Walden Award that says you are absolutely working to empower people and change the world. And that's the truth. And so well-deserved, dear Angelo. I want to just give Ali a chance to mention again this the ANTN conference that's coming up, where we can all see both Angie and a number of other people. So if there's questions on the conference, or Ali, just tell us again a little bit about this Beyond the Beyond.
Yep, so Beyond the Beyond, that's the title for our 2019 conference. And we are meeting at Unity Village from October the 1st through the 4th. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. We've got, as has already been mentioned, Mitch Horowitz, an amazing teacher, student of New Thought, author, writer. He's going to be presenting. He's also going to be doing some readings, and so that's been intriguing. People have been asking about that. It's going to be
a brilliant person that I did not know anything about, and prepared and interviewed him on one of the speaker series. Each of the presenters have been interviewed, so if you want to go back and listen to some of those, they're amazing things. So
yeah, I've just read a book of his called The Miracle Club. He's a deep student of Neville Goddard. So for those of you that are interested in that, please look up that book. Then we have Dennis Merritt Jones, who on Tuesday will be doing an amazing co-creation process. So if you get there early enough at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, there'll be a co-creation kind of visioning discussion that will be taking place. We're really looking forward to embracing the entire community, getting the community involved so that we can really freshen up our face as the affiliated New Thought Network, and really take our place at the very leading edge, the green growing edge of New Thought, and enter into a new discussion. Like someone said, Dr. Ernest Holmes always encouraged us to be open at the top. And we want to have an open at the top, green growing edge conversation with our community. ANTN really is a community-centric organization that values and honors every voice, every member of the community. So Dennis will be leading us through a co-creation process. He's also going to be doing a keynote talk as well as workshops. And if you miss one of his workshops, there'll be an option for you to take one, and he'll do one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So will Mitch. And so you won't miss out on those. Carol.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute. I don't know how to.
And then we have the amazing Michael Gott. He's an incredible minister and musician. He is currently the senior minister at Unity of Houston. And he's coming to share his message of building community and sharing his gift of music. And then his partner, John Harold Moore, who's a dear friend of mine, will be introducing us, many of us, to what's known as family constellations. It's a wonderful platform to help us clear out some of our energy from our ancestors, get clear, make amends, and move into alignment with who we're becoming as our fresh highest self. So we've got many more. I know Marcy's on the call at the moment. Marcy's going to be doing an amazing closing ceremony. And there's so much packed into this.
Martha Krieg's going to do something. I don't know what, but it doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned for Martha. Whatever it is, will be beautiful.
Yeah, we've got a lot packed in, and we're not even discussing all of the labyrinth walks and the tours of Unity Village and the new floor. I think it's the 4th floor in the Tower of Unity, and the prayer and the. Just come. If you haven't already registered, do so before midnight Eastern time, Sunday on September the 1st, because that's when Jerry's going to bed and he won't be taking.
Thank you very much.
I was going to say that Dennis Jones won a silver award in the Nautilus Awards on Better Books for a Better World for his Art of Abundance. And the interview with John Harold Moore as well in the speaker series. Dennis was wonderful too. Each of them have been interviewed, but was beautiful. My introduction, it was my first introduction to this family constellations. And he ended up doing something on the call that was a clearing with someone that was quite beautiful. So take a look at some of the previous speaker series from this year, and you will see up close and personal some of the speakers that will be coming to the ANTN conference, which is pretty wonderful.
Janine just mentioned music. She held up a sign. The music is over the top at ANTN conferences. So prepare to be completely blown open, heart open, mind cleared, and opened up to really embrace the community at very heart place level. So that's all I have to say about the conference until we are there. And then,
any other questions or something someone would like to say? We can open that up, maybe, Jerry.
Yes, everybody should be unmuted. So if you have a question.
Thank you, Angie.
Yep.
I have a question. Are you still accepting donations for the silent auction and the live auction for the grand finale?
Oh, thank you, Sydney.
Yes, please. You can let me know in advance what it's going to be, or just show up and see me when you first get there, and we'll get that taken care of. And we're so excited that you're going to be with us, Sydney. That's awesome.
I'm excited about it too. And I'll see if I can find any more designer scarves for Janine to buy.
And Cindy, I want to say, Cindy.
No wool, Sydney, no wool. No wool, I wouldn't do it. Yes,
Cindy,
yes.
I haven't forgotten to review your file. We're going to do it.
Well, I will be sending more to you, probably ship it out tomorrow as well. So let's talk later. I'll call you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
So for all of us that have been here, I think just listening to Angie and that heartfelt and glorious embodiment of this divine source energy, as he calls it, is a very beautiful thing. And I know that I don't know how many people have graduated through Emerson, but I know that there are countless lives that are changed, because each graduate that comes through that then goes on in their own world to embody these principles influences so many others that there is no way for you to measure the amount of good that has come through you. I know that that's true. And I'm just delighted that you are a Walden Award winner for New Thought Wisdom, which is a perfect thing. Anybody else? Angie Quiet, that's pretty interesting too. He's a man of many talents.
thank you, Carol, for leading this, and thank you, Jerry, for making this beautiful speaker series available to all of us.
My pleasure. All right. Thanks, everyone, for being with us. www.newthought.org to go and register for the conference, as well as for membership information and anything else, or call me in the ANTN office. Thank you all so much, and I hope to see you in October.
Jerry, would you say that number out loud, please?
The phone number.
The phone number? Absolutely. Area code 831-372. Hold on just one second. 831-372-1159.
Thank you. It's also on the ANTN.org website, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a blessed day.
Bye.
See you at the conference.
Take care, everybody. See you.